What's good, NBA family, and welcome back to another video. With the February 8th trade deadline quickly approaching, a lot more teams around the league will actually start to pull the trigger on some of these trade rumors that we hear. So far, we've seen the Raptors and Knicks trade, which landed OG Anunoby in New York for RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly. They went to the Toronto Raptors, and that's proven to be beneficial for both teams so far. And most recently, we have seen the Raptors and Pacers 3-team trade that landed Pascal Siakam in Indiana with Tyrese Halliburton, which I think is going to be an absolute perfect fit. It brings the Pacers closer to contending. It takes Pascal Siakam out of a losing situation and puts him in a winning situation. Pascal Siakam in the open court with the team that leads the NBA in fast break points is going to be tons of fun to watch, and it helps the Raptors because it matches their timeline age-wise with all their young guys for the rebuild process. So overall, I just think it was a perfect fit for both teams. And this trade really got me thinking, what other players around the league absolutely need new teams and should be moved before that February 8th trade deadline? And in this video, we're going to talk about 5 of the players in the league that need to be moved before the February 8th trade deadline. Let's get it. First player we got is Jonathan Kuminga. He needs to be traded because he will never reach his full potential under Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is not a good coach with young players, and we have seen this time and time again. We can look back to this season in the Denver game when the Denver Nuggets went and came back from an 18-point deficit. Jokic ended up actually hitting the game winner that game. That was the game that everybody talks about where Jokic shows his emotion. Steve Kerr did not play Jonathan Kuminga for the last 18 minutes in that game, and Jonathan Kuminga was frustrated and made his frustrations known on media following the game. But we can even look past that situation. We can look with the whole James Wiseman situation. I think that Steve Kerr treated the James Wiseman situation so bad. He did not give him enough of a chance. Any mistakes he would make, he would pull him. And with these young players in this generation, in this era, you have to allow them to play through their mistakes. Basketball is a game all about rhythm and feel. If you're not allowed to play through your mistakes, you won't be able to get better. You won't be able to learn through your mistakes. Right now, currently, Jonathan Kuminga has not been given the chance to learn through his mistakes, the same way that James Wiseman wasn't given the chance to learn through his mistakes. Currently, Jonathan Kuminga is averaging 12 points per game, 4 rebounds, shooting 50% from the field, but only on 21 minutes per game. And when I look compared to his peers, because Jonathan Kuminga got drafted in the 2021 draft, I look compared to his peers, right? Cade Cunningham getting more minutes and getting more of a role. But okay, that was a number 1 pick. Jalen Green getting more minutes, more responsibilities, and more of a role. Okay, that was a number 2 pick. Evan Mobley getting more minutes, more playing time, more efficiency. But okay, that was the 3rd pick. Scotty Barnes, 4th pick, getting more minutes, more responsibilities. You see what I'm getting at. We even could keep going. Jalen Suggs, more minutes, more points, more responsibilities. Josh Giddey, and even Franz Wagner, who was actually drafted after Jonathan Kuminga. It went Josh Giddey, then Jonathan Kuminga, then Franz. And all those guys that I just listed are getting more minutes, getting more responsibilities, putting up more points, doing it on better efficiency. And I feel like this is all because they're on a team where they're given the chance. If Jonathan Kuminga wants to grow as an NBA player and he cares about his NBA career, he must leave the Golden State Warriors if they're going to be coached by Steve Kerr. Next player we got is Malcolm Brogdon, currently averaging 14 points per game, 5 assists, 41% from the three-point line, and 43% from the field. I do not understand why Malcolm Brogdon is on the Blazers. It makes no sense to me. They got their guards of the future in Anthony Simons, who just hit a big shot yesterday, Scoot Henderson, and Shaedon Sharpe. They even just got their good young talents in forwards and guards in Toumani Camara, Chris Murray, Ayton. It to me makes no sense, and I don't understand why you would be taking any shots away from this young core. But right now we're talking especially about Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon is a point guard, and you know who else is a point guard on that team? Anthony Simons, Scoot, and sometimes even Shaedon Sharpe could play that 1/2 position. So to me, I don't understand why you are taking away any minutes away from those point guards, because those are the point guards of the future. Right now, Malcolm Brogdon, he's a good player. He's a good, solid player. Like I mentioned, shooting 41% from the three-point line, averaging 14 points per game. But he's 31 years old. The Blazers are sitting at the 14th seed. There's no reason that they should be playing a 31-year-old that doesn't even match the timeline rebuild for them over Anthony Simons, over Scoot Henderson, over a Shaden Sharp, because you got to let these guys play through their mistakes. You got to let these guys get all the shots and all the reps in the world. Plus, I think that Malcolm Brogdon, he could be a game changer for a lot of teams that are on the edge of competing and not competing. We're talking about a smart point guard who doesn't commit many mistakes, doesn't commit many turnovers, averaging 14 points per game, can facilitate with 5 assists per game, shooting 41% from the three-point line, so he can be on ball as a playmaking, but he can also be off ball and just get ready to catch and shoot. That is a game changer for teams that are contending. And the Blazers could actually use that to their advantage and say, okay, I know how much Malcolm Brogdon would help you and your team, so I'm going to need a lot of assets. And those assets can help for the future, and those assets can actually match the timeline of the Scoot Henderson, of the Anthony Simons, the Toumani Kamaras, the Chris Murrays, the DeAndre Aidens, of all those guys, man. Next player we're going to stay in Portland, and that's Jeremy Grant. Only downside of taking on Jeremy Grant is his massive contract. He's on contract until 2028. He signed a 5-year, $160 million contract. But if you can overlook that because you're trying to go all in and win, we're talking about a player that's averaging 21 points per game, shooting 41% from the three-point line and 46% from the field, and he's just rotting away in Portland. Who's sitting at the 14th seed. And he doesn't even match their timeline age-wise. Very similar to what I just said about Malcolm Brogdon, except Jeremy Grant is 30 years old. And, I just talked about Malcolm Brogdon taking away shots from the backcourt and Anthony Simons and Scoot. Now, Jeremy Grant, he's taking shots away from the front court because he's a forward, and anytime he's out there, he's taking minutes away from Toumani Camara, who can be learning through those minutes, from Chris Murray, who could be learning through those minutes, and he won't necessarily be taking minutes away directly from DeAndre Ayton because sometimes he plays with DeAndre Ayton, and DeAndre Ayton plays at 5, but nonetheless, you're taking away reps, you're taking away the ability for DeAndre Ayton to just have that open court to work. So basically, to me, when you look at the Blazers, they have a player in the front court that's taking away minutes from their young guys and a player in the back court that's taking away minutes from the young guys. Makes absolute no sense for neither to be there. That's why both got to get out. Next player we got is Gordon Hayward. He's 33 years old and on the Charlotte Hornets, who have an average age of 25 years old, and they're just terrible. At the time of recording, they're 8-30, sitting in the 13th seed. Do I need to say more, man? He's on the bottom half of his career. Like I mentioned, 33 years old. It's about time he goes and contributes for a championship, man. Currently averaging 14 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 46% from the field and 36% from the three-point line. But most of all, man, he's an NBA vet that knows how to get it done, man. If you watch Gordon Hayward back in the day, then you know that one thing that man knows how to do is he knows how to score. He knows how to put the ball in the basket. And if you were to replace him on this 13 seed team and put him on 76ers, put him on Celtics, put him on Lakers, put him on Bucks, put him on any of these teams, put him on the Knicks, any of these teams that are either contending already or midway contending or not contending, and they need an extra spark off the bench, man, he's that guy. Can you imagine you're getting a guy that's putting up 14 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on 46% from the field and 36% from the three-point line off your bench on a championship-winning team? And mind you, a player who knows how to score or go get a bucket at any time. It is not a problem. That is scary hours right there, which is exactly why he needs to go get a ring, go contend for a championship, and let the Charlotte Hornets rebuild. Doesn't even match their timeline. Hope you guys have been seeing a theme throughout this. And let's get to the last player here. The last player that we have here, y'all, is Lauri Markkanen. Currently averaging 23 points per game, 8 rebounds, 48% from the field, and 39% from the three-point line. Now, before I get into anything about Lauri Markkanen, let me say this. He would cost the most. Out of all these guys that I listed, he would cost the most for a team to go get him. But he also would make the biggest impact and changes everything for a team. He can provide a team rim protection, and he can provide a team with the ability to have a big who can stretch the floor. We know this is today, day and age basketball in this new era. That's a hot commodity. If you got a big that can protect the rim and stretch the floor, oh yeah, that's something that a lot of teams are going to come calling for are going to come running for. And that makes sense for the Utah Jazz, right? They can offload Lauri Markkanen, and to them, it actually makes sense because they can get so many good assets in return that can actually match their timeline of their young core. Right now, they got Keontae George, rookie. He's a baller, man. If you ain't heard of Keontae George, if you ain't go watch Keontae George, go watch him. Low mistake player who knows how to get it done. Real hooper. They got Walker Kessler at their big man position. They got Ochai Abachi. They got THT. They even got John Collins and Colin Sexton. These are guys that can match their timeline that they would get for these future assets that they would get by trading away Lauri Markkanen. So to me, it just makes sense, man. And on top of all that, if they do keep Lauri Markkanen, I think all Lauri Markkanen will do for them is keep them mid, which is the worst place to be in the NBA. You do not want to be mid. You either want to be contending for a championship, and if you're not contending for a championship, then what you want to do is you want to be losing so that you're rebuilding and building up these assets so that in the future you can contend for a championship. There you have it, though, y'all. Those are my 5 players that I think need to be traded before the trade deadline. Those are my 5 players that absolutely need new teams. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section down below what player out of these 5 you think needs to be traded the most. Let me know if there's a player that I didn't list. And let me know what videos you guys want to see next, man. Hope you guys been enjoying this great NBA season and this great NBA content. I'm going to keep dropping. Stay tuned. And for now, I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.